Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to Let's Discuss, where we chat about anything. My little girl's not very well and she's like just below me. I'm drawing on the carpet. That is real fun stuff. I tend to like sort of cover the same sort of people, so I have like a little rotation of people that I sort of cover. That Challenge podcast is definitely in there. I've done a couple videos on him before. I'm not like going over every single thing that he does, but I like to draw attention to kind of back up previous videos that I've done on him. I think that his message was really well established when he first started out. I think he had some amazing points. I did used to watch him, and then sort of underlying misogyny. He's not very nice about certain women.
These types of creators like Jess Fam and Maya Knight and these kind of like trashier ones, they attract people who want to know that it's okay to be trash. Things I did stop saying about women, like the TWAT word, I stopped saying that. Yeah, you're kind of right. I would never see the C word about a woman. But I do make fun of surface level things like their appearance and stuff like that. Never any deep-seated things. I think it's fair game that if you're gonna push a whole ton of shit, whole ton of chemicals and everything in your body, I'm allowed to comment on it. Oh, they have the, what's it called?
I'm just not really on board with it, and I've done videos on it in the past. He then came out with this video about Kira from Kbaby, who I've made a video on before. I'm not the biggest watcher of them, but of course, like I know a little bit about them. I'm confused as to why is this video necessary? Kira was basically going through her drawers and was showing every drawer in her house. And he said that he was sent like how many like requests to actually do this video?
30 requests to do. I didn't want to do it because you guys know how I get around things like this. Not cut out for this world. But apparently she goes through her drawer of toys or something.
So what I will say about this is him getting loads of requests to do certain vloggers. He could have actually picked other family channels. Like his cause is that he's trying to get kids off of the internet. So doing this particular video and some of the other videos he does on mummy vloggers, I don't really understand where that ties in.
What is this blush? Even I know that that shit's not done properly.
And whereas me, for instance, if I do any commentary, I don't really have like a particular like notion as to what my commentary really is. I'm not trying to stop anything. I just see something and then I feel like I'm commenting on it, and it is usually within the, well, it is within the mummy and family vlogger niche, because what I'm most interested in on YouTube. But I don't have a particular like message, underlining message, although I do agree that we shouldn't be pushing our kids' private life online, like saying really intimate details. So that's kind of where I stand. But where he stands is he has always branded himself as the dad of YouTube, person who doesn't want kids online at all. So when he then came out with this video, I was a little bit confused. The last video on him, I went on to one of his Maya Knight, and yeah, I went onto one of his videos and I noticed one of his comments. So I tried to go back and find this comment and I literally can't, and I wish I screenshotted it at the time. There were people asking him to talk about the Duckity Dozen, Duckity whatever, and there were over 300 likes on that comment. I assumed that he would do a video on that, since of course it's within the family channel genre that he's trying so hard to stop. And so obviously he's gotten requests to do that. He then wants to talk about Kira's SEX drawer.
This is what it's not organized at all.
That's a lot of bras.
Before we get into the details of things that I found within this video that made me a little bit uncomfortable, I just want to first and foremost say that yes, wouldn't choose to show people that drawer or whatever, or go through it. It's not exactly brilliant for really young kids. I disagree with Josh when he says that all teenagers will see it, and that's a really bad thing.
The kids are still going with the teenagers that love them, that stand to them, that I talk to. They watched that channel too. So yes, it's just not appropriate. I'm sorry, it's not.
I actually think that yes, really young kids shouldn't be seeing this, but on the other side of it, teenagers, I think it should be more talked about thing, purely because when I was growing up, it was almost taboo, like complete, like, oh my gosh, did you hear that so-and-so has this? Like it was like woman shaming in a way. What I mean by that, because I wasn't particularly very clear, is because when I was younger, it was so commonplace for men to have all these different things, for men to watch, you know, video content, adult video content. If a woman was ever found out watching that kind of content, like no way, they would, you know, shame them.
No, I'm not getting into this conversation of whether or not I think that's a good idea. That's not what this conversation is. But
what I'm trying to say is that the difference between how men are treated when men enjoy more adult-based things, whereas if women, like when I was younger, if you were found out of owning any of that kind of stuff for even like late teens, or had an interest even in sex, then yeah, you were called all sorts of names. It was SLUT, shaming, if that makes any sense. So I can't really say the words because YouTube picks up on it and hates it. But that was what it was like when I was younger. So I think that the more open we are about that kind of thing, I wouldn't personally show, and I wouldn't personally want my really young kids seeing it. But I think if you're a teenager and an adult, I think you should be able to have those conversations.
I'd also think it's important to note that yes, her kids might also find it embarrassing, or like, you know, their friends might find out about it. There is also that side of it, which I think is what Josh is mostly guessing at. However, him saying that this shouldn't be a topic of conversation for young people or teenagers, and that is where I think there is an issue, because he's putting his past beliefs, i.e. being in a church and, you know, no sex and all of that, he's bringing his past feelings and emotions into it, when a lot of, you know, where you have to face the fact that a lot of young people are doing that and it needs to be more talked about. I hope I've made a bit more sense.
I think Kira is forgetting the fact that she might have really young, like a really young audience, which obviously is not good, and I don't condone that. He says that it was a really requested video and that he doesn't really want to do it, but he's going to do it anyway. Come on, like, he's made any single chance he gets to talk about women in that sort of way, he will do it.
I think it's fair game that if you're gonna push a whole ton of shit, whole ton of chemicals and everything in your body, I'm allowed to comment on it.
Criticised different aspects of a woman that I don't appreciate, and I've done that. I've gone over that in a previous video. In a way, I don't know, I reckon he's had loads more requests to do other, like, actual family channels rather than Kira, which I also found quite interesting, because his whole memo is that he wants kids not online, and in this he even says that he doesn't like Kira, he prefers Oscar.
I don't think that they're showing their kids that much. Here and there, they're popping in. Oscar uses them a bit more. I have not even seen one Kbaby video yet, so this is the first one I'm diving into. But I guess we'll just watch it.
Even though Oscar uses the kids more, but he really doesn't like Kira. Kira doesn't use the kids as much. Oscar apparently does, but apparently Josh's favourite one is Oscar.
Oh my gosh. Oscar, you're better off.
And I'm going to be completely honest, I made a video about this in the past. I think both of them have been quite naive and dumb in some of the decisions that they've made. However, for him to say, I way prefer Oscar, even though he shows the kids more, when his whole channel is about stopping the exploitation of children, doesn't make any sense. I think they're both as bad as each other, if I'm completely honest, but like I say, my whole channel isn't about stopping child exploitation. That just comes into it with some of the people that I cover. It's like little digs, and he does this to the women that he talks about. Like, you don't see him necessarily making these in-depth videos just about the men, you just don't, and that is true, and a lot of other channels are picking up on this as well. Yeah, he'll discuss men occasionally, but he'll never go into the level of nitpickiness that he does with the women, and it just doesn't really make a lot of sense with me if he's also saying that Oscar shows the kids more. That's this whole bit where he's going off about if you look at every single one of them has surgery.
Hey, was she sitting in a bikini on her dresser? And she's getting fake boobs, she's going down the path. I've talked about this about so many family vloggers. You can go down about 80% of family vloggers' content, see where they started and where they are now, and I'm guaranteeing almost every single one of them to some degree has gotten some type of surgery on their body.
I found that really, really interesting, because Josh has admitted to having some sort of tummy procedure. I don't know whether or not it was a tummy tuck or liposuction or something like that. He's spoken about that before, so what does he just mean that, like, oh, as long as you haven't got anything on the face and it's not obvious to people looking directly at you, then it's fine? I don't really see how this is relevant to the topic of child exploitation, just talking about someone's facial procedures.
She's sitting in a bikini.
I just don't understand it. Sometimes if I look at someone and they've clearly had a lot of work done, I'll think to myself like, oh, they've had a lot of work done, but I would never use that against them in a video or say that to them in person or anything like that. I might be like, yeah, sometimes you'll think like, oh, they've had a lot of work done, but you're not going to say that. But he points that kind of stuff out all the time. He's constantly pointing out, oh, they've had this done, they've had that done, that really like classic one of him looking at women in bikinis going, oh, thigh gap, that one's got a thigh gap. Like,
oh, they have the what's it called? Gap thigh.
He does that quite a lot. It's just a little bit icky. He's been asked to make this video and he knows what's in this video and he's like happily doing it, and he says he's not happy to do it, but we all know that he is. Also makes a mistake as well. He's just like, oh, and she's just like created her own channel and all this kind of stuff. She had her own channel and then Kbaby was their joint channel. So I'm not, like, once again, this is just going into the theme of him not 100% knowing what he's saying when he talks about these people.
Oh, let's recap. Let's go over that for a second, Kira. Don't forget that this was Kbaby's channel, which had a lot of children watching it. A lot of kids watch these family vloggers. It's undeniable. And so they broke up. She takes the channel and turns it to Kbaby. I could be wrong about that, but I think so. And still has a large probably population of teens and young people who watch the show.
Doesn't like fully understand. He does, but he doesn't, because he covers such a broad spectrum of people that I don't think he necessarily knows, like, and I'm not saying that I do either. Sometimes I get it slightly wrong, but something as like basic as that, I don't know them particularly all that well, although even I know that she did have a separate channel. For me, I'm just a bit like, why? Like he starts getting it wrong. Just like really, really simple things.
Oh my gosh, I nearly almost forgot this part. Basically, it's a part where he is simultaneously saying that he hates it when people buy really, really flashy and expensive purchases, but then also admits to doing the same, and that he wants to buy his wife a really expensive bag. So, yeah.
And then from this,
Why do people pay so much money for purses? This is the world we live in. The decadence and like, look at me.
It's like Louis Vuitton, like if you rock a Louis, people are like, oh my god, I'm just gonna Louis Vuitton. Is that what it is? I don't know. Should I buy my wife one maybe someday? I don't know. Is it a thing?
Look, I know I get looks when I drive the Tesla around. It does feel good, so I'm a hypocrite.
Of course, like the most ridiculous part is him even like commenting on like what is in their like SEX drawer and things like that. And the thing is that you can tell he's so uncomfortable about it, and he even says like, oh, I grew up in a church and like this kind of stuff wasn't really spoken about.
I'm not the most, you know, enlightened guy because of my upbringing and all that kind of stuff.
You still hold quite a lot of those values, so why are you then watching a video like this? I can't think of any other reason other than just simply just to get views on it or to do what is like trending at the minute. It just makes very, very, very little sense to me, but whatever. If that is what he wants to do, then that is like perfectly whatever, but then expect opinions from it when you can just clearly see he's like ultra uncomfortable with the whole thing, and it's just like, why are we even here? Like, why are we even here? I never clicked on the video because I'm not really interested in it, but like we all know that he definitely wouldn't be interested in it. Like, he's like a prude like that, so why bother? Literally, why bother? There's so many other things you could be commenting on rather than watching a mummy. Like, she's not even showing her kids in that one. So it just brings everyone back to the point of like, he will literally just talk about these mums. He just, there's no, I just think that his underlying message of we need to stop child exploitation is just so lost at this point.
Although I am ultra happy that he managed to, you know, retain a little bit of self-control when he was tempted to get involved with the Depp/Heard case, which so many people are jumping on that bandwagon at the minute. And there are like lawyers and people who are actually within the law community and all of that covering it who have top experience. So at least he isn't going after that, not like he went after the Kbaby Petito case, which he should never have gone after, but at least he's not covering this case. I mean, I hope he's not, but at least he's not doing this, because we all know that he jumped on a true crime case when it really wasn't necessary.
Because if he's making videos like that, that's not even vaguely relevant to the cause that you're trying to do. And he even said Oscar shows the kids more, but yet he prefers him. And it's like, I don't think he even realizes that he says these things, and when people call him up on it, he just gets all defensive. And it's like, Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so what did you guys think of that, of everything that I just said? Did you appreciate it? Did you agree with it? Did you disagree with it? Please let me know down in the comment section, and I will catch up with you guys in the next video.